Right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning into our channel today.
Hello.
Carmelo's here, my partner in crime. As I promised last week, we're going to be talking about tariffs.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about tariffs, that the current administration has been affecting or has been putting on other countries, specifically how it's been affecting or how it will affect the automotive industry, automotive brands. You know.
Yeah. So, like purchasing new cars.
Yeah, purchasing new cars, understanding where they're being made, and how it would affect the purchase of the car.
Yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit on how the tariffs actually work?
So yeah,
because I think I know, but I hear a different story from whatever program I'm listening to. It gives a little different twist. So you're impacted by what you do by tariffs. So I would think you could share with us how these things actually work.
Right. So there are different manufacturers work the system differently. Mm-hmm. So there's some manufacturers that will build the car in a different country, say like Germany, and then ship it to the U.S., via freightliners or whatever you will. Then there are other manufacturers that will ship parts of cars, whether they ship them into the U.S. or they ship them to Canada or Mexico. And then you got the third type that are cars that are being manufactured in the U.S. And you don't really have a car that's completely manufactured in the U.S. You always have parts that come from outside. Components. So it depends on the percentage of components that are coming from overseas, and that'll. in a $40,000-$50,000 car, having a $10 part, even if you put 100% tariff, it's negligible.
Right. So depending on the situation, it changes the impact of the tariff.
Right.
So if the car is completely built in a foreign country and it gets imported, that's the full weight of the tariff.
Right. In fact, there's some automotive companies, and we'll go into some of these that are doing that have stopped shipping cars to the U.S. completely.
Yeah. I think I saw a report that Stellantis stopped production in some of their facilities that were shipping cars to the U.S. They said it's temporary. I think they're just trying to figure out what to do and how to do it, maybe.
Yeah, and there's companies like Audi that they have cars in customs, and they're holding them there. They won't ship them into the U.S. They're past customs and pay the...
Who's holding them? Audi or
Audi
or
is
the
holding
government?
them. Audi is holding them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because if they come in, then the price goes up.
Then you've got the... Right.
What about vehicles that are already here on the lot?
So that's kind of a trick question because, for example, in my personal business, there are companies that we buy that make the material here. And because of these tariffs that, Trump has put on overseas organizations, well, the local companies are raising the price just because you've got tariffs that are hitting the foreign manufacturers.
Right.
So I guess it's a free price increase, right? So it's hard to say. Now there's companies like Ford, for example, that they've extended like employee discounts.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I got a call from because all three of our cars are Fords, so we got a call from a Ford dealer. Who basically said, "Hey Ed, you want to come in and buy a car where everybody gets employee pricing?
Right.
We got this deal going on. You want to trade one of your cars in. Now's the time to do it." So they're trying to offset some of the tariff stuff. Now, some of the Fords are made, like my new plug-in hybrid is made in Louisville, Kentucky, but there has to be foreign parts on there. I can't imagine everything is made in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, any component that's that you've got a chip on board, any component that's got
it had to come in from Asia,
Taiwan.
Right?
Guaranteed ATL.
Right. Or even those Michelins. I think if you look at the Michelins, they actually say made in Germany.
Yeah,
the tires.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I would say that indirectly, Ford would have to pay more for those tires and then hand over the cost to us on the final price, right?
And in fact, that's one of the companies. That's Ford is one of the companies that's having some issues with the current administration.
Right.
I think it was in the news yesterday or the day before yesterday. But and companies like Stellantis, they're also making, they're trying to extend some discounts. Mm-hmm. They're doing because they've got so much inventory that they haven't sold over.
Right. They've been struggling anyway, they could probably afford to absorb it just to move the inventory.
Yeah, right? 50. I don't know how you can recuperate from a 50% reduction in sales over last year.
It's definitely a strange time. So, do you have any specifics or anything you wanted to share with us?
So, there's some. What I wanted to do is kind of go over some of the manufacturers of cars that are made in the U.S., outside where they're made. Right, mm-hmm. Some of the everyday cars like your Cadillacs, your your VWs, mm-hmm. your Lexus, your Toyotas, and then some
popular brands,
and then some not so popular, like your Jaguars and your Land Rovers.
Right.
I've got Aston Martin on here too for some reason. But I don't have Ford.
I see one of those every day.
I've got Lincoln, but no Ford.
That's all right.
So we could we'll start from Acura. So Acura. Some of these Japanese cars like Lexus and Acura, Toyota, they've kind of done business the right way, right? Mm-hmm. You make your cars in the country that you're going to sell them.
Yeah, so you source from your home, the country
as much as you can, or you send parts and you build them here to some extent. And I mean, in Acura's case, they designed the car here.
Right.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's all in country, so it does a better job of looking forward and not being impacted so much by these tariffs.
But I know that, like, you talk about Acura, so let's talk about Honda. I know that they have that plant in Ohio,
right?
And I think they make the engines in Canada, though. I think Honda makes the engines in Canada and brings in and imports them in.
So they make some models they do all three. They make them in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
Mm.
The HRV, for example, is made in Mexico.
What a mess.
Yeah. That's why you really can't put flat tariffs on everything. So, it creates a...
Yeah, I mean, because I would imagine some of those components probably go back and forth a lot.
Right.
Between countries before it even ends up in the final product.
Right.
Yeah. So that's got to be... Somebody's got to be in charge of figuring out what the tariff is for that, right? And can you get doubled up on tariffs?
Well, that's a trick question. I've never run into that issue where I've had a business from China that shipped something to Mexico and then to the U.S., then went from U.S. back to Mexico. Again, I mean, I did have some parts that we had to rework, and they did not pay the tariff because they were already included in there.
I'm almost wondering if there's like I wonder, and this is just theory, if there's a situation where we make the blocks, the engine blocks, and then we send them to Mexico to be machined. Right. And, I mean, I'm not saying that's not happening. Right, and then they come back for final assembly. Yeah. Or we machine it, goes to Mexico, they do final assembly on the engine, then they ship it back. I would imagine maybe not that.
I think if you can show that you've paid the tariff on that specifically,
once, you don't get it again.
You don't get it again. Yeah.
You don't double dip.
Yeah.
They don't double dip. Yeah, but at the end of the day, this is all going to be handed over to us. Right? You go to buy a car, you're going to pay one way or the other. Even if you're buying domestic, right?
Right.
You're gonna pay a tariff. I mean, we live in a global economy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably, I would say, Carmelo, that there's probably components that we don't even want to make in this country.
That's true.
They I read somewhere about the Canadian aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
that they just do it better and they're lower cost.
Right.
And now the price of aluminum in Pittsburgh or in Pennsylvania went up because of the Canadian tariffs.
Right.
So now we're okay. Let's fire up our local source, and now we're going to raise the price because the price of aluminum is up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before.
The price of aluminum is up.
It's easy to raise the price just because you can, because your competitor has already,
the price of aluminum is up, so why would you sell it cheaper?
Right.
When the price of aluminum is up because of the tariff. Right. So everybody every source has some price increase.
Right.
Which is just...
So eventually you're going to see it wherever you buy.
It's just economics.
Yeah.
It's like, why would the steel or the metal people in Pennsylvania sell it cheaper when the price of aluminum on the market is going higher?
Right.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah.
Well, you would think they would have thought it through, though, right?
I don't want to get into politics.
Yeah, no, we're not.
It's a little
no, we're not getting into politics. We're going to stick to just how it impacts us crazy about car people.
So I think, from the research that I did, Acura, Honda, Lexus to some degree, and Toyota are in a good position to... Again, depending on if the dealer decides to raise the price just because they can.
Right.
But, you should see pretty stable pricing if there's an increase.
So
it should be under $1,000.
Do you think that the manufacturers that you just mentioned will be impacted only as much as the domestic because they act like a domestic?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the Fords and the Chevys and the GMC trucks.
Lincoln would go under the... So you would... I almost consider, like, your Cadillac is considered a domestic.
Right.
They wouldn't be affected by tariffs. This is what
but the components,
current administration said that you might be able to get, or he has suggested about getting free financing if the car is made in the U.S. So Cadillac would fall under that type of deal. Lincoln would fall under that.
Yeah. Okay.
Ford would fall under that. Acura, I think, to some degree would fall under that.
Yeah, they could probably make a case, right?
And Toyota would fall under that to some degree.
I would probably look at the percentage of...
Yeah, it's car specific.
Yeah.
But,
interesting.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, we can forget about the Alphas. They're not made. They're not made in the U.S. and neither's Audi, like I talked before.
They're all made overseas.
They're all made overseas.
So anything of those that get sold in the U.S.
Yeah, you're going to see some pretty hefty increases.
And they're struggling already to sell cars in the country. At least Alpha is.
Right.
And I'd like to see them. I'd like to see an Italian brand actually succeed in the United States. Well, this isn't going to get us there.
Yeah.
I was even hoping Fiat would have more of an impact.
Yeah, that's the same.
Just because you always think maybe you don't like the current lineup of cars, but the next lineup might be something you're interested in. And being
BMW would fall under that same. They're just not. There's nothing made here. They've got just which one is it? The second 2 Series is made in Mexico and Germany, and the 3 Series is made in Mexico. So, you still have those cars, but the rest are Germany.
Yeah, so any of those cars that if you guys are interested, maybe buy them now if just in case they haven't figured out the tariff situation. And if there's some sitting on the lot, maybe now's the time to get, if there's something you want.
Yeah.
That's going to be impacted, right?
The other one is Mercedes. They said they won't have a price increase until May 1st. Or June 1st.
Okay, so you guys got a month.
Yeah. Go and buy your Mercedes.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable, Yeah. But, it's happening, Anything else you want to share?
I've got, Land Rover, like I said, they're not
tell me about the British stuff. So,
so
Land Rovers are expensive to begin with.
To begin with,
Oh my God!
Buy them used.
Yeah, you got to buy them used. Well, that's another thing, though, Carmelo. It's going to make used cars maybe more valuable, and the price might go up on used cars too, right? Because if new cars become too expensive, a good used
and
car,
they don't buy them, if they don't buy, then you limit the pool of used cars. So
you got a used car with 20,000 miles on it that's almost new and it's a year old.
Right.
That might become something that you might be interested in, instead of the new car.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And some of them will carry over the warranty if there's not a lot of miles on them. So, yeah, it's just gonna drive the price up. In my estimation, I think everybody's just going to be paying more for cars, whether they're new or used, and whether because every car has something made somewhere else. Even the tires. I mean, do they actually make tires in the United States anymore? I think Kelly Springfield, Goodyear bought them, but I think they might make locally sourced. There might be some American, but I think
General,
maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah,
but I would imagine, like just something as well, maybe not simple as a tire, but I mean, Singapore, Thailand, those are big tire manufacturing companies, so they're all going to be, impacted. Yeah, there's probably not a lot of USA brand.
No, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah,
Kia and Hyundai, the same thing. They're all, for the most part, they're all made in Korea. Sorento is really the only one that's partially made in the U.S. Yeah. Mazda, same way.
Oh, yeah?
Mazda, there's only one, that CX-30, that's made in Mexico. The rest are made in Japan. The CX-50, I think, is partially made in the U.S. Is the CX-50, is that sold?
I don't know.
I don't remember even if I've seen any.
I haven't kept up with any of the Mazda stuff for a while. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Then on the Nissan, I don't know who wants to buy a Nissan. You want to buy?
No.
I was just reading the other day that 300Z, that's you can get those for like, if you negotiate well, you can get a brand new 300Z for below a Mazda 3.
Really?
$35,000-$40,000.
Oh,
Can you believe that?
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But
that's not bad at all.
Yeah. So,
jeez.
Yeah. So, they've got some models that are made in the U.S., like the Altima, but otherwise everything else is made either in Japan or Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah. And what's left? VW and Subaru. Subaru, there's...
now, Subarus, they make them in Indiana, right?
The Accent they make in Indiana.
Oh, I thought they did more than just...
Then the Legacy.
Okay.
The rest are made in Japan.
Right.
Yeah. Again, it's... so you really have to go and see product specific, not just... That's why I wanted to make this video, because it's not model. It's
right.
Or I should say, it's not make, it's model.
Yes.
Yeah,
because it depends on where that model is made.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's that is definitely a different world that we are living in today. Well, we'll see what comes of it. I mean, there's been a lot of controversy around it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that agree with the tariffs. There's a lot of people that say maybe the tariffs, we should handle it differently. Like, I don't know a lot of people that are 100% against the tariff. If you're doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be surgically
it's got to be surgical, right?
On certain products that you don't want to make, or you don't have the capability of making here, or if you make it, you're not cost effective or efficient to be able to do it.
Do you think that these tariffs will end up meeting whatever their goals are? Do you know what their goals are for the tariffs? Is it just to give a boost to American manufacturing? Based
on the formula that I saw that they used, it doesn't have anything to do with tariffs. It has to do with how much they're buying from us and how much
comes down to money.
Yeah.
It's a money. Like is it like a money machine?
Well, it's not a money machine. It's like, how much product do you sell into, say, Italy? Okay, so the U.S. sells $90 billion worth of product into Italy. Mm-hmm. Well, how much product does Italy buy from the U.S.? Well, maybe it's $50 billion of the product. Mm-hmm. So it's that $40 billion that they're trying to make up. So it's not really tariffs. It's what's the difference between how much we're selling versus how much we're buying.
Like a trade imbalance, I've heard.
Yeah, it's not. So it's not really.
My bottle of San Pellegrino is going to get more expensive.
Oh yeah, and then it's really up to San Pellegrino if they want to sell it here.
Yeah, they might say forget it.
It's not worth it. Yeah. Right? Why bring it here if it's going to sit on the shelf? Or I mean, it's got a shelf life. What do you do with the product?
Right. Yeah. Because San Pellegrino has that whole line of stuff that I love.
Right.
Like, the
right. In fact, during the last Trump tariffs, the Kinoto, they stopped carrying it here.
Oh, really? Because of the tariff?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all I had for tariffs and how it affects our good old cars.
And our wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so hold on to those old cars a little longer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So by holding on to those old cars, then I wanted to do a deep dive into automotive parts. And again, automotive parts, just like automobiles themselves, the industry's become globalized. So you get parts everywhere. And it's going to impact our bottom line. Now, you've already covered most of the ins and outs of the tariffs, but I can give you an example of where a tariff has already impacted something. So I bought, as you guys know, I have a 1986 Pontiac Fiero SE. We put new tires on it, and while we were putting the new tires on it, we realized that one of the boots was ripped on the back. So it's like, okay, let me order a axle for it. Well, I went to Amazon, so here, let me get it here real quick. So this is a Chinese-made part. This same part, I bought the short and the long, so I bought both of them because it was cheaper. So on Amazon, I bought this on March. You can just set it down over there. I bought it on March 17th. It was $126.55. Cheap. And that's for both of them. The short side and the long side. I went to look at the website today, Carmi. $141.32. The exact same part. The exact same ad. In fact, I went to my order, clicked on buy again, and the price went up. With tax, it went from $126.55 to $141.32. 11% increase.
Yeah.
Now, I know they're talking about 25% tariffs, but what do you think is happening here?
That's the cost of what the company that you bought it from obviously didn't buy it for 141 or 136. It's their cost plus whatever percentage they were charged with the tariff. So it's the cost, which is normally like 50% or 60% of what you're paying for.
Okay. So it isn't so that's why it's 11%, not 25%.
Right.
Okay. So and then, but even with the tariff, it's cheaper for me to get this part from Amazon. And I do want to state that excuse me. I had a swig of Coca-Cola and it's giving me gas. So with the component that I bought, it's a quality part. It's made in China, but China makes quality stuff. I mean, I don't know why everybody thinks that everything that comes out of China is garbage.
And that's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
It depends on
my iPhone is a high quality item.
And that's made in China. Yeah, it depends on the EMS that you're really using to make it. You can have companies that are garages the size of this room that are making it, and then you can have multi-billion-dollar companies that are making it.
Right. So that component is ISO, built in an ISO certified facility, and it's also IATF certified. up to at the 2016, which is the latest certification that you can get. So it's a good component. It's $141.32 with the tariffs kicked in. If I went to a local auto parts manufacturer right now, it's not in stock. It'll take 3 days to get here. It's $201.48. And then I think on top of it, they charge me a core charge. So there's no core charge. So, yes, I'm going to pay more. I'm going to pay, what is that, about $15, $16 more?
Right.
So that's about a week's worth of Starbucks, right? It sucks because, as you know, my sub-channel, Weekend Budget Garage, it's all about where we can save money. So you can still save money and get a high-quality part, but you're just not going to save as much.
Yeah. Right.
And as long as you can wait a couple of days, there's online venues where you can save some money. So, yeah, these the components are impacted. A lot of it, I think you covered already with the cars. It's the same, I put a report together, and the conclusion is a 25% tariffs on imported automobiles and auto parts has introduced significant challenges for the automotive industry. So they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
that's all they talk about on the news is tariffs.
And I don't know that you can figure it out overnight.
No,
in fact,
you can't.
Ford, was it Ford? Ford has already decided to kind of go outside. It doesn't make sense. You can't.
So what's Ford doing?
They're going to start making product in Mexico, guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
If you make it in Mexico, you save on other stuff.
Yeah, then you ship it to wherever you need. They talk about that. If you go to Europe, you don't see any Ford or you don't see any.
Ford's everywhere.
Yeah, but there were some videos that that you don't see any American-made cars. Well, yeah, you're not going to see a pickup truck. They wouldn't fit in those roads to begin with.
Right. You're not going to see a big Super Duty F-150.
Yeah, but it doesn't. You can make it cheaper. That's part of the problem is the labor, right?
Yeah.
You make it cheaper, and you don't have these issues with these.
So the tariffs are giving these companies a reason to go look elsewhere.
Also,
right.
Yeah.
So Ford is a global company. I mean, Ford sells vehicles like Toyota all over the world.
Right.
And I know Ford is big in Europe. I mean, there's Fords all over Europe, right?
Absolutely.
Like I know that my Ford Escape, the new one, you can buy it under a different name. Mm-hmm. It's a Ford Turaga or some name that I don't know what it is, how to pronounce it. But you can buy that car there. But where's that car made? Probably not here, right? They probably make it, or maybe they make it here and they ship it. Well, not no more, right?
Right.
It's like, okay, this is the line of Escapes that are going to go to Europe. So you put different tags on it. You put the steering wheel on the other side if it goes to England. So now they're like, well, we're not going to make them in Louisville, Kentucky anymore. We'll just make them at our Ford plant somewhere in bumfuck Egypt.
And I think it will come down to, the product that you make that's destined for in country, you make it in country.
Yeah.
And the product that's destined for out, you make it somewhere else.
Yeah, so maybe at the end of the day, the end game is that the prices are just going to go up. Maybe wages will go up and everything stays the same.
I can't imagine that wages would go up as fast as...
Yeah, no.
I can't imagine 150% tariff that was just put today on China. Have you ever seen a wage increase of 150%? I haven't.
My soda. I'm not gonna touch it now because it'll blow up in my face. So, it's crazy, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah,
we'll see. Maybe in about a month or so, we'll see where we're at with it. We'll see if the administration ends up making a change. Right now, it just feels messy.
It's very messy.
Yeah.
Try to give some guidance on people that are out there looking for a car.
Buy it now. Buy it now.
Yeah.
Before they kick in. You said some of the manufacturers are going to wait till May. Right. So maybe if you're going to wait for better weather, maybe just go and work out a deal now. I know they're making deals out there. I got a call from a Ford dealer. If you're interested in buying a new Ford, maybe now might be the time to go before things change.
Yeah, Stellantis again.
Stellantis,
with Chrysler and Dodge.
Jeep too, right?
Yeah.
So,
Jeep,
all right.
Yeah.
Anything
Jeep
else?
is also hurting. Except for the Wrangler, Jeep is also hurting.
Yeah, and that Wrangler is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Wranglers is more of a culty kind of. Everybody wants a Wrangler, right?
Yeah.
My daughter wanted a Jeep when she started driving 7-8 years ago, so I got her a Jeep Liberty. That didn't do it. It had to be a Wrangler. It's like, well, you're not getting a Wrangler. You're driving a Liberty. So they're. I have my own opinion about Jeep quality. So
yeah. Okay.
But anyways, very good. Well, thank you, Carmelo, and thank you everyone for joining our channel this evening. Hope you got some good stuff out of there. Look, if you have any questions or feedback,
just write them below, and we'll try to respond.
Email address should be like right about there. So send us an email. We'd love some feedback. We'll implement the feedback right away. We're really trying to grow this channel. If you like the content, please like and subscribe.
Thank you.